Have you ever disappeared, not out of anger or games, but because you needed to protect your peace? You pull back without drama, without explanation. And slowly, that absence begins to unsettle her. This isn't just psychology, this is Stoicism in motion. When a man disappears, not to punish or provoke, but out of quiet self-respect, something starts to shift. The space he once filled becomes obvious. The conversations she once ignored now echo in her mind. At first, she doesn't react, but day by day, her thoughts begin to spin in ways she can't fully control. Day 1, she assumes it's nothing. Day 2, she wonders if he's trying to teach her a lesson. Day 3, she starts questioning her place in his heart. And just like that, it begins. Not because he left in anger, not because he wanted her to suffer, but because he chose calm over chaos. He walked away, not from pride, but from a place of inner stillness. In this video, we'll walk through the emotional landscape a woman navigates in the days following your silence. From denial to quiet moments when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. This isn't manipulation. This is Stoicism. You don't chase, you don't explain. You just step back and let time, space, and her own mind do the rest. Sign number 1, the vanishing act. She's shocked, confused. Your silence lands like a pause she didn't expect. She rereads your messages. Did she miss something? But there's nothing, only stillness. And that stillness starts to grow louder. At first, she thinks maybe you're busy. Maybe you're trying to make her miss you. But then hours become a day. A day becomes 2. And suddenly, your silence becomes a wall. One she never thought you would build. Because you were always the one who replied. The one who cared. What she doesn't know is that a stoic man doesn't retreat to punish. He steps away to protect his peace. He doesn't beg for clarity in confusion. He reflects and moves in silence. By day 2 or 3, she remembers your voice. The way you explained things calmly. She replays your last conversation, looking for clues, but finds none, because a disciplined man doesn't announce his silence. He lets the silence speak. By day 4 or 5, she notices your absence. No check-ins, no good morning texts, no memes, nothing. And that's when curiosity becomes unease. Maybe she posts something flirty, subtle, just to see if you react. But a grounded man doesn't take the bait. He knows attention is earned, not assumed. Now she begins to question herself. Not because you ghosted, but because you vanished with grace. No drama, no goodbye, just calm distance. And that hits harder than words ever could. A week passes. She wonders, has he really left for good? She thought you'd fold, reach out, break, but you didn't. And that's when it clicks. This man doesn't need me to feel whole, and that is the true power of restraint. She thought silence meant indifference, but now she's learning. Silence from a man like you means self-respect. And that's what she's starting to miss. Up next, sign number 2. When everything around her starts to echo with memories of you, even the silence, you stepped back. No drama, no explanation, and that alone makes you linger in her mind. Not because you were loud, but because you were unshakably quiet. Now, everything feels different. What's more powerful than a man begging for attention? A man who doesn't need it. That's the man who lives rent-free in her thoughts. Not because he forces his way in, but because he's too rare to forget. You've become what she reflects on, not because you were overwhelming or needy, but because You were grounded, intentional, and rare. You're not just a man who talks about peace. You embody it. And that is the Stoic difference. You didn't walk away to hurt her. You stepped back to honor yourself. Now she's sitting in the same silence you once used to soothe her and realizing it wasn't silence at all. It was you. Now that you're gone, she hears it louder than ever. She feels the absence of your presence, the calm you brought into the chaos of her world. As you reflect on this, take a moment to check in with yourself. Does this resonate with you? Have you ever felt the weight of someone's absence? If it strikes a chord, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Or simply type, "The silent conversation speaks louder than words." Coming up next, sign number 3. When doubt creeps in and she starts asking herself the one question she never expected, was it me? Let's dive in as she begins to understand that your silence isn't distance, it's presence on another level. Something inside her shifts. Your silence isn't coldness, it's presence in a deeper, more grounded form. One she didn't fully appreciate when she had it. But now, in the quiet moments, it's louder than ever. If this touches something deep inside you, pause for a moment. Reflect on how often we confuse noise with meaning, and how powerful it is to remain steady when emotions want to drag us off balance. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's a statement, a boundary, a sign of self-respect. Have you ever experienced this? If you have, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below or just type, "My silence speaks for me." Let's see how many of us are walking that quiet, resilient path. Sign number 5, memory lane becomes a trap. Do you remember that song you once sent her? That inside joke only the two of you understood? The way you used to softly say her name, making her feel truly seen. Those memories are flooding back to her now, but this time they carry more weight. What once sparked joy now feels bittersweet, because there's no reply, no voice on the other end, no you to relive those moments with her. While she's caught in a constant rewind, you've taken a different path. Because a Stoic man doesn't cling to the past, not out of bitterness, but out of respect for his growth. You don't dwell on what's over. You take the lesson, hold the gratitude, and move forward. She's stuck replaying your shared moments, searching for the shift, wondering when your calm presence turned into aching silence. And in that silence, she finally notices all the small things she once dismissed, your gestures, your efforts, your quiet consistency. But you're not bitter. You're not hoping she feels that same weight. You've simply decided to keep walking, with clarity, with intention, with peace. You know who you are, you know what you bring to the table, and most of all, you know what you truly deserve. Up next, sign Ward 6, when she starts testing the waters, and you remain still like a mountain. After the memories fade, after the longing settles, what truly lingers is not your silence, but what your silence represents. Because when you were there, you were fully there. Present, focused, grounded, intentional. You were the listener, the steady presence, the calm in her chaos. You were the quiet stability she leaned on, often without even realizing it. So now, when you step back, it's not just no contact, it's not a tactic, it's a shift in energy, real, meaningful, undeniable. Now she sits with this weight, pretending it doesn't matter. But the silence? It speaks volumes, louder than her pride will admit. Because a man like you doesn't leave on a whim. You offer chances. You're patient. But once you reclaim your peace, That's when the impact is truly felt, not just through missing texts, but in the atmosphere you once filled. It's not the silence that hurts her, it's what it means. A man who knows his worth and walks when that worth is ignored. Signer. 8. The void becomes real. Now, it's not about a missing message. It's about the energy that used to be there, the calm you brought, the steady hand when everything felt like a storm. You were her emotional anchor, and now that anchor is gone. Not just on her phone, in her life. Because your presence was never just about words. It was in your clarity, in your patience, in your silent strength. You didn't disappear to punish. You stepped away to realign, to breathe again, instead of suffocating in confusion. You didn't abandon her. You came home to yourself, and that kind of absence, it doesn't scream, but it shifts everything. She feels it. Not because you made a scene, but because you didn't. Because your absence is rooted in self-respect, not spite. A stoic man retreats not to seek validation, but to guard his integrity. Because sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is walk away from a space where his soul feels unseen. She may look fine. She may laugh, post, go out. But deep inside, something has changed. Because what she misses isn't just the message. It's the man behind them. The calm in her storm. The grounding presence she never expected to lose. Up next, sign number 9, when curiosity slowly turns into longing, and the silence you maintained becomes the loudest message of all. As she begins to recognize the difference between someone who simply keeps her busy and someone who made her feel safe, her perspective starts to shift. You now understand that in real love, the kind that touches the soul, is not about constantly proving how you feel. It's about sharing moments of honesty, free from tension, free from the weight of uncertainty. So while she may struggle in the silence, you find comfort in it. Your choice to maintain distance wasn't to hurt her. It was to protect your emotional balance. A man rooted in self-respect doesn't respond to curiosity. He only returns when the foundation is solid, consistency, clarity, and genuine communication. That's why your silence carries so much weight. It isn't empty. It's intentional. It's filled with purpose. And somewhere underneath the frustration she initially felt, she knows the truth. You're not waiting. You're not chasing. You're honoring your dignity and the peace you worked hard to build. That kind of discipline doesn't just separate you from others, it defines you. You are a man who doesn't act out of impulse but from deep self-awareness. Sign number 10, respect awakens. Now she sees it. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was strength, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be heard. It wasn't rejection, it was reflection. A pause, not to punish, but to preserve your peace. At first, she misunderstood. She thought you didn't care anymore, or that your interest had faded, but in your absence, her view cleared. You didn't ghost her out of fear. You stepped back like a man who knows his worth, a man who doesn't beg to be noticed, who doesn't pursue someone unsure of his value. Your withdrawal wasn't angry. It was clear, intentional, grounded. You know what you bring, and when you withdraw, it means something. Now she feels it. She can finally see the difference between someone who disappears to dodge responsibility and someone who steps back because he's no longer seen. You didn't demand to be understood. You let the silence speak. And in that silence, She finally got the message. This wasn't just her losing you, it was you finding yourself again. Up next, sign 11. The ball is now in her court. And you? You remain exactly where you should be, standing strong, dignified, and unwavering. Now the ball is firmly in her court. Whether she chooses to reach out or not, one truth remains. She will never forget the man who chose discipline over drama, peace over chaos, and calm over emotional turbulence. You didn't react to noise. You didn't crumble under pressure. You stood still, unmoved, grounded, focused, and that, more than anything, caught her off guard. Because most people can't handle silence, but you didn't disappear, you evolved. You stopped justifying yourself in places where you felt unheard. You stopped giving to those who didn't value it. You stopped trying to prove your worth to someone who should have seen it all along. And your silence, it didn't break her. It woke her up. It made her think deeper and harder about you, the man who stayed composed in the storm, about herself, and about what she truly lost. You're not a boy who walked away. You're a man who grew. A man who chose growth over emotional confusion. That's the essence of a stoic man. He doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, he steps back, creates space, and lets truth rise to the surface. And now she sees it. She feels the shift, and whether she admits it or not, she will never forget the man who walked away with quiet dignity and deep self-respect. Final thoughts. Thank you for joining me in this journey through the unspoken waves of silence and its powerful impact day by day after you disappeared. We've seen how silence isn't weakness. It's not an absence of feeling, but it's a full presence, a form of communication born from strength and self-worth. This isn't about playing games, it's about clarity, about choosing your peace over the chaos of imbalanced love. If this resonated with you, please like the video and share in the comments. Which part of this journey hit home for you? Have you experienced a similar transformation? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss out on more content like this. Watch the recommended videos on screen to dive deeper into how Stoicism can shape your personal and relational growth. And always remember, sometimes the most powerful message is the one you never say.